Hello, welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 48. I'm your host, Jacob Russ, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Black, and we are back again, and we are playing with Power. Ryan, man, dude, what's going on?
Metroid is going on. That's all that's going on. That's all that matters.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I already heard a little bit. You were on the Warp Whistle podcast with Mark Carabin, good friend of the show. He's been on the show. He's on our Mario Kart episode, and he's going to be back later this year for a fun debate episode. But, yeah, dude, he invited you on. How was that?
It was pretty cool. I like hanging out with him. He's a cool guy. Really cool.
Yeah, he is pretty cool. I mean, he's never invited me on the show, but, you know, whatever, you know. I'm not burnt by that. We'll just settle it and smash later, I guess, whenever it comes to the Switch. No, I just kidding. I love you, Mark, man. Guys, I am beyond excited for tonight's episode. Not just because of the topic, because of this is a new little milestone here for Nintendo Nostalgia. We've never done this. We have 4 guests on for today's episode, and coming up here we have Mr. Tony. What is up, brother? Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me. I'm living the dream right now on Nintendo Nostalgia Podcast. Going to talk about one of the greatest games of all times and my personal favorite. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Oh, man. Well, I know we're really stoked to have you on. You and I, we've been talking, since like June? May-ish time. I was actually at a different job back when I was originally messaging you, and we put a thumbnail on the calendar for this date, and said we'd get back to it when we got closer, and here we are, man. It's time.
Yeah, man, it was like in April. That was so long ago.
Oh my gosh, April. Jeez,
you must have been learning how to book stuff through those Nintendo dads, booking months and months in advance.
I absolutely did take a note from Justin and booking months in advance. So, yeah. So I'm glad you're on. And man, April, we were still on SoundCloud, Ryan. We weren't on Dayspace yet. Wow. Well, so glad that this time has finally come to have you on, and I look forward to having you on as a guest many more times in the future too. So, guys, not only is Tony on for the show, this is not this guy's first appearance on the show. He was on back in E3, our reactions episode, but this is the first time this gentleman has come on Nintendo Nostalgia, like a direct episode like this, through our headphones, through our computer screens, in the privacy of our own individual homes. Guys, many of you don't believe me. You don't think this guy exists. This guy, I mean, he is the, maybe you could say he's like a legendary Pokemon per se. Like he's just a myth. He's just a legend. I talk about him all the time on the show. This guy is the best gamer I know. I mean, Ryan is up there. Don't get me wrong, Ryan is up there, but I can at least compete with Ryan. Traven, on the other hand, Mr. Traven Jonas is on the show. And Traven, I can't even put it this way. When I'm playing with my best character in Smash Brothers and I'm like serious and focused, like I'm in a tournament, Traven is playing with like a fun character that he doesn't ever play with. Like he could play with Jigglypuff or Pichu, and I mean, he's toying with you and you're barely hanging on. So, Traven, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's everyone doing? I exist. Jacob over-exaggerates me a little bit, but...
Oh, no, Traven, he's a silent but deadly warrior. Traven's very silent in his... When he speaks, everyone listens, I'm saying. Everyone listens. So, well, guys, so glad you're on the show. I'm so stoked for this. Tony, Traven, look at this. Traven, Tony, did you know Traven's dad's name is Tony? So it's kind of like, what a coincidence there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That has nothing to do with the show. But let's go ahead. I don't want to waste any time. We got a lot to talk about. So let's get into the news. Ryan, I wanted to jump right away into this. I saw this today, right before we got on. Some people are talking about it. It's not direct Nintendo news. It's not strictly just about Nintendo. But for me as a kid, a little kid, this company and Nintendo, the dreams I have, memories I have go hand in hand. Toys R Us is filing for bankruptcy, and I hate this because, guys, Toys R Us, even today, it's my favorite store to go into. Like when I go in there, I feel like I'm 5 years old. They have, in my opinion, they're better than GameStop. Sorry, Ryan. I know you work at GameStop, but like when I go through Toys R Us, like I don't find a shortage of Nintendo supplies. I find everything I want and more, and merchandise that I don't see at other places. And I love Toys R Us. I am a little kid in a candy shop when I go in there. It's bad news if I go in there by myself because I start trying to buy stuff that I should not be buying.
That is some expensive candy.
Very expensive candy. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I'm really saddened by this. I know that it's not the end of the company, but it's a major blow. They don't have very much stock. Even I think it said that 1% of their stock they own that they hold, and they're not doing so hot. My first memories there is like getting my first Pokemon pack and pulling a Blastoise out of the back. Man, that was huge. And so like I would never get to go there with my parents because like that's the expensive store, but like. Yeah. I would go in there just to look. In fact, to this day, I just go in there just to look around and see what they have. Like I don't always buy things there, but I love that store so much. It brings out such the kid in me. So.
Yeah, it's I know for me, I mean, I remember vividly sitting in the cart with my mom pushing it around, picking up the Game Boy for my oldest brother Josh for his birthday. She bought him the Game Boy package, and I remember just like sitting in the cart, staring at this box of a system. Like I was amazed. I was so excited because my brother was getting it and I couldn't wait to play it. I remember many Pokemon trips there to get Pokemon cards with Traven, with Brad Hunsinger. Gosh, I remember one night, Brad, I was spending the night at Brad's, and this is just like the hype of all Pokemon days when they first came out. So you're looking at like 1998, 1999 or whatever. And I was just spending the night, and we were just like asked his dad straight up, like, hey, can we like go get Pokemon cards and stuff? And you're like, sure. He's like, he did not care. He just took us straight to Toys R Us right there, East Washington Street. We got Pokemon cards, brand new packs, unwrapped them, and then we bought 2 Pokemon VHS tapes with they had like 3 or 4 episodes on each of them. And I remember the ones we specifically watched that night. It was Ash, and he met Mankey for the first time, and it went into the one with he was training him up, and I think he had a fight like Hitmonchamp in a fight soon. Shortly after that, it was those episodes. So yeah, those are some key memories with Toys R Us. I have many more, but guys, Tony, what about you, man?
Oh man, it's so sad to hear about this. Like, I have so many memories just walking up and down those aisles. Like, even like last month, like I just go up and down the aisles and just you see superhero stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. See some Lego. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Nintendo stuff all over the place. And then the video game section, like it's so unfair that it's gonna be different. And I feel bad for like my kids, because you don't have that experience very often in stores anymore, where you walk in and your eyes just light up with aisles and aisles of toys. Like now there's everything in every store, right? So it's not specific. So it's pretty sad to see them going away. Like, where's the giraffe going to live?
Right. Save the giraffe. Hashtag save the giraffe. Yeah, I agree. It's not just even video games. It's every kind of toy. I mean, from Ninja Turtles to Transformers to the little things that you don't necessarily run into at other stores like Walmart or Target. I know they have some of that stuff, but Toys R Us just has everything and more to me. Traven, I know, man, we were going to Toys R Us as kids. What do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I remember back when I was young, I used to go to Toys R Us for they had these little local Pokemon card and Pokemon video game tournaments. I used to play at those.
Yes.
I actually still go there today because they have collectible figures. Like they had the Pacific Rim figures I used to go and buy, and got Godzilla figures, and they got amiibos. That's always the best place to find these because that's the last place anyone checks is at Toys R Us. Which
is so funny. It's so ironic. Yeah, It's funny you mentioned that amiibos. When the Pikmin for the 3DS amiibo came out, I went to GameStop and the dude told me, "Yeah, we're completely sold out. You had to pre-order that right away." And I was like, "So they're sold out at all these other GameStops?" He's like, "Yeah, man, they're sold out." And I literally left GameStop, went straight to Toys R Us, and they had a wall full of them at Toys R Us. Bought it right away. So you're right. When all else fails, Toys R Us is where to go, man. Well, heck, with even the SNES Classic, people were freaking out about pre-ordering it. They're not even doing pre-orders for it at Toys R Us. Like, you have to go there day one to get it. But so, guys, last week Nintendo had another Nintendo Direct, and that was something that we had not gotten to talk about on here. We predicted what we said, and we were kind of right. I think we were beating around the bush. We didn't get too much into it, but I wanted to just recap real fast about what we got out of it, because sometimes the Nintendo Directs hit right at home and it's everything you want. Sometimes it is partially what you want, partially not. And sometimes you don't really care at all. I mean, like, it doesn't do anything for you. So this time Draven, I wanted to start with you. What did you think about the Direct? What did you take away from it? Are you excited? Was it, what do you think?
It was kind of a so-so. I'm not like super, hyped about anything there. Biggest thing I saw that interested me was the Morphe's Law game. I thought that was really cool looking.
Yeah.
I think that'll be interesting for the Switch. A lot of other stuff like Doom and Wolfenstein, not a big fan of those. And then Skyrim for the Switch, we all knew that one was coming.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I mean, all the new Mario Odyssey information, that was definitely cool to see.
Yes.
I was really excited over that. So a little bit of good, a little bit of stuff I didn't necessarily care about. Not a big fan of RPGs either, so Octopath Traveler didn't really interest me too much.
Well, what about Xenoblade? I know you played the first one and you got Xenoblade X.
Yeah, I actually saw that. I thought the new things they were doing, the new mechanics, that kind of looked cool. So I thought that was interesting. I'm excited for it to come out. But like I said, it's one of those games I knew was going to come out, so it wasn't a super big surprise. True.
Very true. Tony, what about you, man?
The Direct was good, on great. I think the Xenoblade stuff was a little bit long in the tooth. They could have cut that down a lot and been like, go to our website for more information and showed a different trailer there or something like that. Mm-hmm. Because the rest of the Direct was just like bang, 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 rapid fire. And that was great. And then it gets to Xenoblade and it just slows down. And for me, like, it looks like a cool game, but I don't think it's really one for me. So I was just like, oh, come on, let's go. But then they showed Doom and Wolfenstein 2, and I was like, what? Because it's huge just for the fact that these are current gen games. Like Wolfenstein 2 is coming out October 27th, same day as Super Mario Odyssey for PS4 and Xbox One. Mm-hmm. And in 2018 for the Switch. So that's just the thought of seeing how that can run is mind-boggling enough, and that's exciting. Bethesda's going to find great success with those ports, and it really opens the doors for other developers and puts out a challenge there and says, let's go. Let's see what you guys can bring to the system now.
When they announced those, I was driving. I said this a little bit on Mark's show. When they announced this, I heard it just over audio, and I just started like screaming and shouting for joy, like, because I know this was huge for Nintendo. And it's like, take that, every other third-party developer that hasn't supported the Switch yet. The Switch can do it. Now get on it. Get with the picture.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else did you take from that, Ryan?
I like the Morphe's Law thing. I'm kind of glad they showed it. I feel like Nintendo's kind of pushing it right now, and I'm very intrigued by what they have there. They could have a really good game on their hands. It's very, very unique, definitely. I kind of get some like Swapfire vibes, as I said in the past. So I think that's pretty much my biggest excitement. Now the Mario Odyssey stuff, that did actually get me more interest built in personally. I wasn't super gung-ho about it, but actually seeing this for some reason, just like me, yeah, I definitely want to get this game. Maybe it's just the realization that it was like next month and just right around the corner, and I'm gonna have it in my hands soon and playing it all over the place. And so I think that's why I'm glad that I got that hype up because I wasn't feeling it too much before then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I heard you say that on Marks, and I was surprised. I mean, Mario Odyssey, dude, this is the Mario Sunshine and 64 formula. I can't believe you weren't more excited than what you stated. I didn't get that sense from you.
I'm not too, like, it doesn't feel like that to me. When I'm watching these, it doesn't remind me of a Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine. I feel more like it's more akin to like Galaxy and stuff like that, or some more of a linear Mario game, and less like a hub world type Mario. So that was kind of my hang up there. But the more I see of it, the more I start getting excited. Hey, this is actually going to be like Super Mario 64. I know I'm saying it and I'm telling people this, but it hasn't clicked for me yet completely until it's in my hands and I'm playing it. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed.
Well, until we found out that there wasn't a hub world, I think it kind of moves like Galaxy would, just from piece to piece. There's not a big hub world, but the actual level design is a sandbox type like 64 and Sunshine, which I'm thrilled about. I mean, 64 is my favorite Mario game of all time, so I'm really thrilled about that. So I jotted down some notes just as the direct went on real quick. I liked the Mario Party game collection. I liked the Bethesda games. I liked the arcade games. I liked the Snipper Clips too. The Xenoblade 2 release date was big. Kirby Star Allies I liked. Mario Odyssey news I liked. And Morphe's Law I liked. I like Morphe's Law because out of the Nindies Direct, that was one of the few. The Nindies didn't do tons for me. That was one of the few that did I have interest in. So I was glad to see more on that. Looks fun. Curious to see even more on it. Mario Party, we just talked about this on one of our past episodes. It's really great to see that they're revisiting every Mario Party and pulling the best mini games from that with updated graphics. Downside, I really don't like that it's on 3DS. I know MVC was talking about how it's really good for that, but man, I really feel like this should be on Switch. But maybe they're saving the full next mainline Mario Party 11 game for Switch. The Bethesda games, am I going to get Doom and am I going to get Wolfenstein 2? Heck no, I'm not getting those games. But that might sound like a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite, guys. I just don't like to play rated M, gory games like that. I am more of a family-friendly guy. The darkest I want to get is, I love Metroid. I think Metroid is not really family-friendly, but it's rated T for teen. It's not full of junk, in my opinion. What it doesn't need to be in games. But am I excited about them? I was very excited and very impressed just because Nintendo needs stuff like this. Like, let's be honest, not everyone games like me. I know there's a crowd out there that wants this stuff. Like Tony wants the stuff on the Switch, and that's completely fine. I want Nintendo to get games like this. I don't want people to say Nintendo's just for little kids, or Nintendo can't handle these style of games. Like, I watched that. I don't know if you guys seen any of the PS4 versus Switch side by side images of Doom. I've been seeing that on YouTube, and they kind of put the PS4 looks a little bit more crisp, a little more poppier, a little brighter, and the Switch is a little bit more darker in tone, not quite as bright, and it's not going to be quite as powerful as the PS4, but I didn't care, It doesn't look bad. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand why people think that whatever has the best top graphical power is that's the more superior version. I don't necessarily agree with that. If it's fun, you can play it on the go, and you prefer to do that, more to you. Like Skyrim, I'm excited. I will get Skyrim. I know it's rated M. I've done my research. From what I hear, it's not that bad. So, if I get in there and I find out, wow, this actually is not that great, I probably won't play it. But I do want to give Skyrim a chance. But it doesn't bother me that it's on other systems that may have a better graphics capability for it. Snipper Clips 2, my wife and I really liked that game, so I'm happy to have additional stuff, DLC for it, so we can play some more games together and with friends. Xenoblade 2 release date. This was a big topic. I think Nintendo needed to get out in front and finally say when it was going to be released. So that was a huge bonus. I'm probably not going to get the game unless I'm forced to by Ryan. It's not on my get list, but I'm glad it's there again. Guys, Kirby Star Allies, really cool. Cool to see some Kirby support on the 3DS. I think that was important to show off. And obviously, I mean, I don't need to say it. Mario Odyssey looked freaking awesome. Looks beautiful. I probably want to stop winding down and seeing stuff on it because I don't want to be spoiled with every single thing from this point on. And I would like to experience that for myself. But the biggest thing I got from this Direct was it didn't blow me away because there was a lot of RPG coverage. Like Traven said, Octopath Traveler and Xenoblade 2. Like, I just don't like RPGs. I mean, I don't hate them. Don't get me wrong. I don't despise them. But to me, they're long. They're drawn out. They can get boring to me. I enjoyed the Paper Mario games, the original RPGs. I even played through Mario RPG, the 7 stars, just this past summer, and I enjoyed it. But I'm not somebody I don't have time to put over hundreds of hours into a long, drawn-out game like that, personally. So it just didn't do tons for me as in that aspect, So I wasn't super, freaking out when it was done and said and over, but yeah, that's kind of what I took away from it. My thoughts. It wasn't bad, but I thought it was a really good Direct because I know it fed a lot of other people in other areas, and that's important too. Just as much as my Donkey Kong fix, my Mario fix, Metroid, Zelda, that's just for me. I know other people are excited about this, and I'm glad Nintendo hit that. There's that other side of the coin that I'm not stoked about, but it's good to hear. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to talk too much more on that. Other shows have already covered this a lot, and I know we're a week late to talking about it, but that's just what I got out of it. Guys, I want to go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. Ryan, we are going to save you for last because you, I know, have been playing a very special game that I want to hear more about. But Tony, man, what have you been playing, dude?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of NBA 2K18 on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Metroid on the 3DS.
Yeah.
How could I not be part of the Metroid Initiative?
Bravo, Tony. Thank you for joining the Metroid Initiative. Glad you bought the game. Are you going to buy anyone else a copy?
Yeah, I'm going to buy a copy to give away, actually, on Twitter. So
awesome, dude. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, whenever you want to do that, if you want our help, let us know. We can help tweet out stuff for you.
Awesome. But yeah, I was playing NBA 2K18, and it looks really good. I was really surprised that they can keep all the parity with all the features, and it still runs really well. Like, I saw a couple of hiccups, but it's mostly really good.
Yeah, I saw someone talking about today online that it basically has all the features and runs and looks super awesome, just like the other versions.
Yeah. When I was playing it last night in the dark in my hand, I'm like, I can't believe this is the timeline we live in where I can play this game in my hands on a Nintendo system.
Yeah.
It was just blowing my mind. The only thing that looked kind of weird was some of the graphics, in the cutscenes for people in the stands. And the cheerleaders, their hair looked really weird and really jarring, but that's just minor stuff.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm glad that you're playing that because I'm not playing it, and I'm glad to hear someone's perspective from that.
No, from what I've seen and what I've heard, it's complete on par with the other versions. The only thing is, I had to download it first, and you need the SD download it.
Okay.
Because it's a huge game, and it took 8 hours. And then it's here's another code to download the rest of the features kind of thing. So then you have to go in and download that stuff too.
Okay.
Which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, the features are exactly the same. Only the frames per second is dropped down to 30 instead of 60. And it's a little graphically just a little bit less than the other consoles.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks great.
That's good news for Nintendo, right, Ryan? That's for some third-party support there. It's another one step up everybody else, Do you have something to say, Ryan?
No, I'm just really glad to hear that these sports games are doing well. I'm excited to see how the WWE does on it as well, because that's something I'm more familiar with, even slightly, than basketball. So I'm ready to see these sports titles start to take off and go toe to toe with their console counterparts in this hybrid system.
I am too. I mean, things are starting to feel like Nintendo of old again, having every sports title on there, and like even if you don't play them, it was just to know that it's on there, like is comforting to me. You know, if I want to go get a game like that, you know, I know they're not all on there. Like if I played any sports game, it'd be Madden. I know that's not on there yet, but it's good signs for the future for that stuff. Traven, you have Metroid, but you have not been playing much Metroid. You have been playing a different game. What have you been playing, sir?
I've been playing Monster Hunter Stories. Yeah, I actually pre-ordered Metroid, and I got the collector's edition with the soundtrack and everything, and the amiibo's on its way in the mail, so waiting for that. But yeah, right now I've been playing Monster Hunter Stories, which I've really liked. You know, ever since I kind of started Monster Hunter, I thought it would always be cool to ride on the dragons, you know?
Uh-huh.
Thought that was always a kind of cool thing. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. You know, fighting with the monsters instead of against them, although you technically fight against them as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a lot different than the original traditional Monster Hunter. Is that correct?
Yep. It's RPG, more of a traditional style RPG as opposed to Monster Hunter, which is more of like a gear-based kind of RPG.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can walk around. It's more of a action RPG, the regular Monster Hunter, as opposed to Monster Hunter Stories, which is more of a, you know, traditional, you choose your attack, that sort of thing. Kind of like a Pokemon, only you fight alongside the Pokemon.
Oh, wow. So you're enjoying it for the most part. That's good to know. Yep. Well, yeah, obviously, I will have to say this, guys. Traven is, I told him the other day in text message, I said, you're the most patient gamer I know, because, like, it doesn't matter if like the biggest game just dropped for Nintendo. If it was Metroid, that's a big deal. Traven's playing Monster Hunter Stories, and he's going to keep playing it until he's done with it, and then he's going to play Metroid. That's just how he rolls, man. I mean,
gotta do one thing at a time.
I admire that, because I'd be like, oh, I got to play a little bit of this, I got to play a little bit of that, and then I would like get no progress done in any of the games. So. Tony, it'll be interesting for you to chime in here with Ryan, but Mr. Ryan, you have been playing Metroid Samus Returns, and my goodness, I am so envious. I will get to why I have not been playing that soon, but talk about it, man. What's up with the game? Why is it so good?
Oh, where do I begin? One thing, I'm really loving the 3D of this game. The depth in the backgrounds, and seeing like things move around in the backgrounds, and seeing like full like Chozo statues like hanging out just back there, or seeing like some like wreckage of things that the Chozo have built. It's building a story without saying anything, just like Metroid has always done, especially with Super Metroid, like telling that story. And so going into these rooms and seeing this lush world and this planet that's infested with Metroids is just so good. The game is difficult. They throw a lot of enemies at you, and you really, instead of feeling like you're like powering through everything, like you got to work for it. You got to keep building up. You got to watch your energy. You got to keep up with all. Even when you get your most powerful suit, I'm assuming, I haven't gotten all the way through, but you know, there's usually three suits you're guaranteed to have in the game. So even then, like, you have to watch, because like 2 or 3 hits and you're starting to feel it. So I'm playing right now with the extra energy tank and missile tank and energy tank, and those have helped out a lot. When I go through it on hard mode, I'm going to try using it without that stuff and see how well I do. But one thing that has been, and this is advice to everyone, when you get the ice beam, freeze an enemy, then use your counter attack, and it breaks them instantly. Like, get that timing down, and that'll sail you through a good part of the game till you get the better beams. So I am absolutely loving the story, and the scary moments, the intense moments, the boss battles. They're all just so well done.
Now, I've heard that this game is very scary. Like, which, I mean, back in the day, don't get me wrong, Metroid 2 as a kid on the Game Boy, it was scary. Like, I was terrified when I saw like the Metroid egg just sitting there, and I knew as I stepped close, it's going to wake up and it's going to come after me. And I was so scared, so scared. The music was appropriate. I mean, is it like that? Is it worse? They said this is probably, I've heard on some shows that this is like one of the scariest Metroid games in a long time.
Yeah, it actually is. Take the running away from SAX and going up against these really powerful enemies and just throw them out of nowhere at you in random parts of the game. And there's a few nods to some other things I've seen in Fusion that I'm really, really enjoying. So that's something to look forward to. Oh, my goodness. It's so good. I can't say any spoilers, but, man, I wanted to talk about it, but my lips are sealed.
Oh, my gosh. Fusion is my favorite 2D Metroid game. I mean, until I get to play this one. Who knows? But right now.
Just so people know where I am in the game, I've got about 4 Metroids on the counter left at the point where I am now. I don't know if they're going to do what they did in Metroid 2, where that changes. But right now I'm sitting at 4, so I'm getting pretty down to the wire.
Wow, that's kind of like depressing in a way too, isn't it? Like we've waited so long for a Metroid game, and like you're like almost done with it so quickly. I mean, it's a long game for a Metroid game, but it's still like bittersweet, you know. But that's why you got to play it with the fusion suit.
Yeah, that hasn't hit me yet because I have three playthroughs to do. I have to do the regular mode, then the hard mode, then the fusion suit mode, and so like I've got a lot of gameplay ahead of me. So.
Yeah, for the first time, I think when I actually get my hands on it, I will. Like, I typically I don't replay like with the hard mode, but I really, guys, we've been one Metroid so long. I think I really am, especially with that fusion suit, going to replay it again. So whenever I beat the first time. Tony, what are your thoughts on the game? I mean, you agree with Ryan here, or do you absolutely hate it?
I totally agree with Ryan. Everything he's saying so far is completely accurate. It sets the tone like right away, just like Super Metroid did. And it's amazing to play. And that counterattack, like it took a little bit to get it down packed, but you feel so good with that counter, and then you just hit bang, 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 bang. And it just feels great. But yeah, like I was playing it last night. I just got it yesterday and I had the lights off, and then I'm like, it's like 12 o'clock. Maybe I'll switch over to NBA because it's getting a little scary. Thought I'd switch it up a little bit because I'd be like, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep. I'll get too into it, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great game. I'm only like 36. Like I got 36 Metroids left to go, so I'm still very, very close to the beginning. But anytime I get a new ability, I'm just like, I got to go explore. I went all the way back to where the ship is. Use the spider ball, which I think is a brand new ability. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember it anywhere else.
It's actually in the original Metroid 2 game. So like,
it is.
They put it in the Prime games, but in the Prime games, you like could only move on a track. Can like a magnetic track. But yeah, it originally debuted on the original Game Boy game, and you could climb up anything in that.
That's such a cool mechanic. I really enjoyed it. It just makes you think about puzzles a different way, and you kind of just want to go back and explore everywhere that you can. I
think it's awesome that like a lot of people, I've heard this a lot, that a lot of people forgot that that ball, the spider ball, is even in it. Like to them, it is new because it was never really brought back for like Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion. So like, but I remember it like it's always been there because Metroid 2 was my first Metroid game ever. So that's really cool that you're getting to see that, you're experiencing that. That's cool for me to see. So what have I been playing? Mario Rabbids when I can. I mean, life's busy with job and family and stuff, so I have not gotten to play it as much as I want. I am on the final world. I did just unlock Yoshi. So, guys, you were over at my house this past weekend, and I like brutally lost. And then when everyone left, I finally could like focus, and I beat it in like one try. So I finally unlocked Yoshi. Loving that game still. Go get it if you haven't got it. But I'm not playing Metroid Samus Returns at the moment because I'm an idiot that puts myself through these agonizing waiting pains that not a lot of people would do. I mean, I haven't tied nostalgia to my birthday parties, which is October 22nd, and I'll have a little birthday party the 21st this year because that's Saturday, and I love to wait for Christmas. Just like how it was when I was a kid, you only got games for Christmas, one game for birthday, 2 games for Christmas. Now I'll get a little bit more than 1 or 2 games now. No, don't. I'm not crazy, but I decided to make Metroid: Samus Returns a birthday game, and Ryan actually just got that game for me pre-ordered, and he's just holding it hostage at his house right now. So like I know I have it, but he's holding it, and I'm not going to get it until late October, right before Halloween. So you talk about it scary. Like, I'm not a big horror person, but I'm going to really enjoy playing this in the dark on a cool, crisp fall night around Halloween. I think it's so appropriate. And I'm just always I'll forever tie this game to my birthday. And every time my birthday comes around, like, that's how the show is built. Like, I have all these nostalgic memories from key. It's not just May 3rd I randomly went out and bought a game. Like, I have key moments of really important times in my life, exciting times that 10, 15 years from now I'll be able to remember when I got Metroid: Samus Returns, and it'll be so nostalgic for me even more. So I think this heightens the experience. So yeah, I plus all my pretty much all my Metroid game experiences really take place in the winter when I got to like Prime and Fusion. Like, I've beaten the majority of all my Metroid games pretty much in the dead of winter, leading up to Christmas or shortly after. But I did, because Jesse Armstrong pre-ordered me this Metroid Samus 3DS XL, and I love this thing. Like, it is, I've never had a big one, and it's, you hear that? Hear that Metroid music? I downloaded the Metroid 3DS theme, and the music plays on my Metroid Samus 3DS. It's so beautiful, and I'm just like, I have everything but the game. This kind of sucks, but it's awesome at the same time. I have my eShop stuff re-downloaded, so this kind of sucks. When I transferred everything over, like, I don't have any of my saves from my Virtual Console games. Like, they're all gone. Yeah, I have my Virtual Console games when you re-download it, but none of the saves are there. So, sorry about you guys. I have an excuse to replay Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 again, like, before the year's over. No, I don't. I definitely don't have time for that. But
Jacob, hold up. You should try taking the micro SD card in your old 3DS and put it in this one and see if that does it, because it may be saved on the SD card still. I don't want to say you've lost everything and have to play Donkey Kong again. We have so many other games you have to pay attention to.
Well, that means I would have to unscrew the back and find some really small screwdriver, and then I'd have to track down Jesse Armstrong, because that was part of the trade where he got me this. I gave him my previous one, so that's just too much effort. I promise I'm not going to play Donkey Kong Country on this right now. I'm saving Donkey Kong Country 1 for the SNES Classic, so I can replay it that way on the SNES Classic. But I won't torture you with some more Donkey Kong replay talks for a while. But no, I've been so tempted to play Metroid 2, the Game Boy game, because it's sitting right there, the file. Because we rebought it and replayed it last year for our Metroid 2 episode that we just relaunched on last Friday for people who weren't listening to us back then. And can I just say, Ryan, it was so like cool and crazy to just re-listen to the sound quality. Like, we had totally different equipment we were recording through. We didn't have microphones yet, and like, we were brand new. We were only a month in, and we were like saying how we so hope Nintendo will like make a Metroid 2 remake one day, not knowing that it was coming next year. I just thought it was so funny, so cool. We called it, dude.
Nintendo pulled it off. That's the best part.
Well, that's what they did. They heard our episode, and they're like, you know what? We've got to do it right away. So let's get to work. So, and here you go. You're welcome, everybody. But yeah. So real fast, the Metroid Initiative kicked off last week on Friday. I myself bought 2 copies, and neither of them were for me. So I'm not like bragging. I'm just saying what I did here. So I encourage everyone, buy yourself a copy and help spike these sales. And I don't think they're false sales, but the whole mindset is you'll buy this for somebody who doesn't really think they'll get it. You don't think they'll get it in the hopes that they'll play it and fall in love with Metroid and really enjoy it and invest in the future. So helps the sales, helps spread the love of Metroid. So guys, the Metroid Initiative is active. Maybe Christmas time's coming up. Buy someone a game for Christmas and put a smile on their face. So. But with all that said, guys, I think we've talked long enough. I know the news and stuff has been a little bit longer because we have 4 members on today, which is freaking awesome. I love it. So we are here to talk about a game that is very special to many people's hearts. Very, very, very special. So let's give it up for the inferior game to Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World.
Whoa. No way. Okay, what game makes top lists over Donkey Kong Country? Super Mario World, I think, is it. I think that's a superior game.
So Super Mario World, that's the topic?
Yes, and it is the superior topic to Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, well, we can debate about that. Okay, so before we get into our big debate, guys, we got some wonderful voicemails from our fellow listeners out there. I want to give a quick shout out to his name is listener of the show, Sheldon Benedict. Sheldon, my man, I know you called like 7 times tonight, and believe me, my phone receives every phone call that gets sent to Google Plus or Google Voice. And for some reason, man, I don't know why it would not let you leave a voicemail. I think I fixed the issue because I did some stuff and I called it from my wife's phone and I was able to leave a test voicemail and it worked. So maybe next time, heck, you can even call and still talk about Mario World and we'll play it next episode. But man, I'm sorry about that. I really wish we could get your voicemail that you wanted on this episode. So, but maybe next time. But with that said, guys, we've got a couple other voicemails that we did get today. So let's play them.
Hey guys, Mark here, the Canadian Gamer. I was so happy to have Ryan on the show this weekend, and I'm really, really happy that you're finally talking about a game that's so worthwhile like Super Mario World. You guys talk about, well, Jacob really talks about Donkey Kong Country so much that sometimes you forget that the show is called Nintendo Nostalgia and not just Donkey Kong Nostalgia. So it's really nice to see you guys dedicate some time to some good games. That's a real nice change for you guys. Just joking. Can't wait to hear the episode. Super Mario World is one of, if not my favorite game of all time. So it's amazing to hear what you guys are going to say about it. I can't wait. Look forward to it. Love what you guys do. Talk to you soon.
Mark, thanks for the call, man. I mean, wow, I'm a little shocked there. Donkey Kong. I don't talk about Donkey Kong that much. Do I talk about Ukulele more or Donkey Kong more? I don't know.
If it has anything to do with Rare, you're talking about it.
Okay, that's fair enough there. Great for Mark. I'm thanks for reaching out to Ryan there too. I love the episode today. Shout out to you guys and go check that out, everybody. If you haven't heard it yet, Ryan was on Warp Whistle podcast. But thanks for the call, man. And I believe it or not, I'm really excited to talk about Mario World. So let's get into our next call.
Hey guys, it's Trash Turkey again, giving you a call. I don't think I said this last time, but thanks for putting on a great show, a great family-friendly show. I really appreciate that. and Super Mario World. It's confession time. I was a Sega kid, and so don't hold that against me. And we all know best stories are redemption stories. So I plan on, replaying the game. I played through some of it growing up, but not much. And when this mini Super Nintendo comes out, if I can get my turkey legs on one of those, I'm going to play through it. And more importantly, I'm really excited about Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. So anyways, hope you guys have a great show, and thanks again.
Thank you very much, Trash Turkey. That's 2 weeks in a row, man. I love hearing you call in. And, dude, you know what? I love putting on a family-friendly show just because I'm family-friendly, I guess. So, we're stoked about Super Mario World. Are we not, Ryan? Come on. We're excited. I know there's a little heated debate, but we're excited. I'm excited. I don't hate Mario World like everyone thinks I do.
You said it was for kids. For kids.
We'll get into that.
I believe E's for everyone.
That's correct. E is for everyone. You're right, Ryan. Okay, we have one more phone call. So this is actually a little longer one, but we know this gentleman here. So let's hear what he had to say.
Hi, guys. This is Jesse Armstrong, just calling this week to give a big shout-out to Jacob Rush, recommending Mario Rabbids and also hooking me up with a copy. Me and my son Isaiah both really enjoyed playing that. And then also a big shout-out to you guys for recommending Metroid Samus Returns. Picked that up on Friday. Been loving it. Actually, I haven't played anything else since I picked it up. Super Mario World, I never really played because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. Recently saw somebody playing it, though, and brought back some memories of a friend of mine in high school, actually in junior high, elementary, dating myself there. He had Super Mario World, and it was one of those games that just really looked good, especially, for Mario. It's a step up from Super Mario 3. It's just one of those games that really made me kind of hate that I had a Sega instead of a Nintendo. So, yeah, that's my memory of it. Never really played it much, maybe just a couple levels. But overall, it's a really good-looking game, so it looks good for this day. So, thanks for all you guys do with the community, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Jesse Armstrong, thank you so much for calling, man. And you know what? You keep playing that Mario Rabbids. I'm sure you and Isaiah are loving it. I'm glad that we can hook you up with that. And I'm glad that you're getting this SNES Classic so you can play, Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country and all these awesome games from the Super Nintendo for the first time. Like, I think we're going to have Jesse on for that, just to kind of get in his perspective of, like, he's going to play all these games for the first time. Seriously, like, this is like it's brand new stuff here. We got to have Jesse on for that. Maybe we'll do a SNES Classic episode. But yeah, Jesse, and can I just say it warms my heart when anyone says that, like, Mario makes them wish that they had the Nintendo over their current other system. So Mario World made you were really sad that you were a Sega kid, and that makes me happy. So, but guys, thank you all for the calls. It's time now that we get into the show here, and it's Super Mario World. Tony, you are our guest, first-time guest from far away in another land near Sean Capri, and I want to hear your love and nostalgia for this game. What's up? Why do you love Mario World so much?
Oh man, there are many reasons on a regular basis. It's comfort food for you. This is a comfort food game for me. It's one of those games I can play anytime. Like, if it's like Saturday and I have some free time, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to play some Super Mario World. And I just go ahead and pop it in the cart in the Super Nintendo and just play it that way. And I have lots of really good memories with this game and lots of important memories with this game as well. And one particular memory that has always stood out for me is I was about 5 years old, and I'm 30 now, so I didn't get it right when it first came out. It was maybe a year or two after. Parents were going through a really bad divorce at that time. And there was a lot of yelling and like a lot of anger in my house. And it was something that I always wanted to just get away from. And I remember one day I was playing in the Forest of Illusions, and that place is gets you kind of turned around and you get kind of lost in that area. So I couldn't beat it, went to bed, was woken up at like 4 a.m. with like mom and dad fighting. And I was like, oh, I just don't want to be here. But luckily I had like a Super Nintendo in my room. My TV was in my room. I was a lucky kid, only child, kind of spoiled. And I just popped that game in there, and I was just, all I could think about was the Forest of Illusion and getting out of that area. And I was able to beat the area. I realized that the fighting had stopped and I could go back to sleep. But like, so important for me to get my mind on something else, and it was there for me at that moment, and it's what I needed at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a pretty like personal story, and like only recently I've started to share it with like a few friends, because I never really thought of it until I was like, wow, that game is really important to me for lots of reasons, and one of those reasons was because the time in my life when things were going on with my personal life, and as a child, like I didn't understand it. I just knew I wanted to be away from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that's really awesome, and I thank you for sharing that with us. Like, it's clear why you have a love and deep love for Mario World. Not just I talked about this even with Donkey Kong games. Like for me, like I think back to the times what I missed most about being a kid was, when like the world, like today, for example, we see a lot of we hear arguments and all the crap that goes on in the world. Like back then, what we had to worry about and focus on was beating, the Kremlings or beating Bowser and the Koopa Troopas, and like that was our world. And it took us to a whole nother place to escape from reality. And I'm happy that you had Mario World right there to just cling to through that time. Trust me, dude, I completely understand about clinging to things and having memories to certain songs or bands or movies or video games during some tough times in my own life. And I totally can relate. And I'm glad that you shared that. That is that's a touching story.
Yeah, and that's why like your guys' podcast really spoke to me when I first heard about it, is because it's those moments, that nostalgia, the things that these games helped you through. Like, and I could tell like you guys have had those experiences too, and that's what really drew me to the podcast at the start.
Very cool, man. Well, I'm glad that you listen. I'm glad that you're on the show, and
I'm glad too, man.
And again, like I said earlier, we plan to have you back on many more times in the future. So great to have you in the community, and we look forward to even getting to know you even more, so good stuff. So how about you, Traven?
Well, I have a lot of good memories from Super Mario World. It was one of those games I just like to keep running through the stages over and over with different abilities and that sort of things. I thought back then that the Yoshis on Star Road, I thought that was possibly the coolest thing about how they gained those abilities, by eating the shells and different colored shells. So, I like running through a certain stage with maybe the blue Yoshi trying to fly through it, and then the yellow Yoshi trying to stomp on enemies. I thought that was cool. I thought the cape was really fun to experiment with, and the twirl that you could do in the game, I thought that gave you a lot of options in the game as well. One of the things I really like they did in the game is that big wide open map with all those secrets. I feel like that they should make Mario games more like that, not the linear kind of way that they've been making them, where they, the stage 1-1, stage 1-2 sort of thing. I feel the map sort of thing actually gives you a little bit more freedom You don't necessarily have to go to this stage or the next stage. It gives you a lot more to explore, a lot more to play with. I just thought it was a really great game. I mean, you could use the Star Road to go all the way from one of the beginning areas to go straight to Bowser's Castle if you wanted to. And I thought that was so neat back when I was a kid.
Traven, I have to ask, man. So does your mind, what are your first memories? Like do you remember the very first time like you got this game and you started to play it? What that was like for you?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, I remember going through the stages. I remember the switch rooms you had to go into and hit those for the first time. I always thought that was interesting. I remember one specific memory when I was going on a vacation down to Florida. One time we rented a SNES and we rented this game as well.
What?
And I couldn't be without my Mario World.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is really cool, man. Your mom and dad are probably like, Traven, you have this game at home. Do you really need to rent it? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. We should have them on the show next.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Get some mom and dad on. I love that. Ryan, what about you, man? I know you got some nostalgia here too. Obviously, go ahead, lay it on me, brother. Why do you love this game?
Oh, the memories. Oh, my first experience with this game was I was at I was with my parents, and they own a business, kennel, and they went over to one of the employees' houses. I think they were having some kind of birthday party or get together or something, and this employee was sitting on their TV playing Super Mario World, and I was just like mesmerized by this. I loved the colors in the world, and I liked this Yoshi, and I got to play a little bit, and I was like, from that moment, like jumping on Yoshi and running around, I was hooked. I loved this game. I was so mystified that there was like secret exits and switches that you could hit that would add blocks to levels, and I just adored the Boo houses so much. Like those are my favorite levels, like even to this day, and just so many memories. It got to the point where like every time that I would go to someone's house with my parents, I would ask them if they had Super Mario World and ask them if I could play it. Like they maybe never played video games in their life, and I would still like, hey, do you have this game? Like I didn't understand that not everybody had a Super Nintendo, but that was my thing. Like that, I wanted to play this game all the time.
Okay.
I finally got it, and it was so satisfying to finally do all this stuff. This was the game that helped me come into realizing that I was good at these types of games, and I was skilled because I was doing things that my friends couldn't do, and getting past parts. They'd hand the controller to me to get past these parts, and like, I don't know why I'm good at this stuff, but hey, if I can help you out, like I was like, kind of. They like me coming over to play video games with them, help them get past these parts and talk them through stuff, and it was pretty cool. It kind of helped me realize that I was a pretty good gamer. So.
Well, yeah, you are a very good gamer because you did that exact same thing with me on Mario Brothers 3, coming over to my house and helped me through that game. Well, guys, I mean, everyone knows at this point that unless you're brand new to the show, welcome. I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. We just had the original NES. So to be completely honest, I think the very first experience I ever had to Super Mario World was it was before I was in preschool with Traven. We had a babysitter, and I didn't get to play it. Like the babysitter had like 4 kids there, and they had a Super Nintendo, and I just remember like we never were allowed to like touch that stuff. We had to be in the baby room because like I'm like a little kid. I mean, it's like I'm saying, this was before preschool, but I remember this. And I just remember one of the kids playing Mario World, and he was on Yoshi, and I knew what Mario was because I was obsessed with Mario at my own house with the NES, with Mario 1 and 3. But I never got to play it. But then when I met Traven, this is really where my nostalgia kicks in here, guys. I met Traven in preschool. And we became best friends from the start. Or you're spending the night at each other's houses. I like to go over to Traven's house way more than my own because, I mean, come on. he had the Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. What fun is it at my place? You know what I'm saying? So I loved going over to Traven's. I love his whole family. They're literally another family to me. I feel like a part of their family. Traven, I remember everyone here thinks, I just want to get something straight. Everyone here thinks that I like have this beef with Mario World. I don't have any beef with Mario World. I don't hate Mario World. As a matter of fact, Mario World, I have more nostalgia for Super Mario World than I do any other Super Nintendo game because of my time with Traven. I remember going to Traven's house and spending the night, and the first thing we do when we get back from preschool, we get in through the garage. We have to take our shoes off in the mudroom, and then we would run straight into the living room, and we would turn on the Super Nintendo, and sure enough, we popped Super Mario World in probably like 85% of the time. Yeah, did we play other games? Of course. I love Donkey Kong Country from this. We have so many Super Nintendo games that we played. Radical Rex, exactly. An amazing game that Traven's going to come back on and teach you guys how awesome it is. But Mario World, what do I remember most about it with Traven? I remember playing it Friday nights. We would sometimes order Pizza Hut, stay in, or we would go to Chuck E. Cheese, and we'd be playing it up until we left. And then we'd go to Chuck E. Cheese, play some Ninja Turtles 2, play some other games, come home, and then we would get to play Super Mario World again for like 1 hour or a half hour before it was bedtime. Like we'd come back, put our PJs on, and then get to play a little bit. But I remember always waking up at your house, Traven, and dude, like we were just little kids, so we always woke up super early. And I remember it'd be dark outside in the room, in your bedroom. We were spending the night, and I'd be like, Traven. I'd be like, go ask your parents if we can go play the Super Nintendo yet. And like it probably, I don't know what time it was. It probably was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and Traven would get out of bed and he'd go ask him if we could go play Nintendo, and then he'd come back with the devastating news of we need to sleep for another hour or so. So then we would get up in like 10 minutes and go ask him again because it felt like an hour. So finally they would let us go downstairs, and I just remember running straight downstairs again in our PJs from waking up Friday night. That Saturday morning, turn the TV on, press the purple button on the left side of the Super Nintendo, and then there's Mario running across the stage, carrying a shell, and throwing in it. And we'd select the file, and Traven and I, we'd play through this game all the time. So guys, I have a lot of love for Super Mario World, and do I think Donkey Kong Country is better? Yes, I do. And my Donkey Kong Country love has come more as an adult, where I've been able to look back on games and compare them now that I've played them more, so both, and I've been able to dive. But I'm not here just to bash Mario World. I'm here to praise Mario World. So guys, let's get into the game of what we love about this game. And Tony, I'd like to start with you. What do you love most about this game, man?
Oh, I love the way that it feels. Like when you're running, like I can play that game and it feels like, I always tell my friends, I'm like, just watch me play this game. Like just watch me play it. And they're just mesmerized. They're like, the timing that you have, it's just the flow of the game, everything about it. Like I remember that area, like when you first get the cape and you're trying to get there's 3 rows of coins. And I remember spending like several times worth of levels just going back and forth, flying back and forth, trying to time that flight just perfectly. It's just things like that. The feeling of the game, it's insane. I still remember the way the Frosted Flakes tasted when I beat the game. I was sitting right before school. Right before school, I was like trying to get every minute of playing games I could in. I was eating cereal and playing games, and it was. I beat the game and I was like in awe. I had the spoon hanging out of my mouth, the milk dripping down. I remember the taste of the sugar. And then I got to school and I was like the first one out of all my friends to beat it. And I said, guys, I beat the game. And they're like, no, you didn't. And we just like sat on the playground talking about it. It's those kind of memories that I have with that game.
That's awesome. I love your kid in the background there. Trust me, you hear Riley in all my episodes, so like, don't feel bad, dude. That's great. So you're just you said you're 30, right? You're just a couple years older than us, so we're like all around the same age range, right? So let me think here, Ryan. I mean, do you have that similar feeling? I mean, did you beat this game? Was it pretty quick, or was this kind of like I don't know, slow grind for you? You said you got pretty good at it, so I wonder if you beat it a lot, or if this was like really challenging for you.
It took me a while to actually beat the game, especially because I'd played at different people's houses. I played bits and pieces here and there. I definitely didn't get a handle of anything until I actually got the game for myself. I did eventually beat it, but it was some time after. I got hung up on a lot of trying to find the secret exits and exploring Star Road and doing those things. And so I never really went to the castle. In fact, I remember like when I was able to get to the castle, I was like kind of scared of the castle because you see like Bowser like circling around like a shadow, and then there's like lightning going off and that like ominous feeling. Like I didn't know if I'd want to actually go up against him, so I was like, okay, I'm at the point where I can go up against Bowser on his castle, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna explore. And so I didn't want the game to end, and partially I was kind of scared because that's so ominous. But that was kind of where I felt with it, was like I just wanted to explore more and experience it. And this game has a lot to experience. There are so many different like secret exits and tricks that you can pull off, and secret worlds and levels, and even an alternate version of the game if you get past a certain point. So there's so much to do. And then just like the best part about the game is probably Yoshi. That's just such a cool mechanic. And then the colored Yoshis add another layer with their own special abilities, and so good.
Traven, what about you, man? I mean, I know this is your favorite Mario game. Why is it your favorite Mario game? I mean, there's so many of them that you've played them all. Why is this one the number one for you?
Well, I have one memory. I'm not sure if you remember this, but back when we went to preschool together, do you remember Show and Tell when I brought this game in for Show and Tell one day?
Oh, yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I think that might have been the day we met or something.
That might have been why we became friends.
Yeah.
This dude has Mario World. Hi, I'm Jacob.
But yeah, I just love it for all the possibilities, everything you could do, everywhere you can go. I mean, I spend most of my time just going to Star Road, picking up a Yoshi, and then going to a stage. Just trying out with a different Yoshi each time. And then, because I went to Star Road so much, you just kind of cheat your way over to Bowser's Castle.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that on the inside, there's like 2 sets of 5 doors. So you can go through the entire stage like 5 times and have a different path each time. It just shows you the amount of variety that they give you in this game. There's multiple paths to get to the end, and they do that all the way up to the final stage. That's what I loved about the game. You could just keep replaying it over and over. Different Yoshis, different power-ups. I mean, some stages, they may not necessarily give you the feather the entire stage, but they'll have this entire section above you with clouds and coins and stuff in it that you can go explore.
Yes.
It's just fun.
Yeah, Traven, what I remember with you, I remember how much I loved this game, through you. I remember playing it all the time at your place, and I was always Luigi, and like I sucked compared to you, because you're just that good. Like I remember having to like give you my lives so we could keep going. Sometimes, you could switch lives from Luigi to Mario. So I remember doing that. But one thing that we always got stumped at, I mean, you eventually overcame this, and even I did, but we always got stuck at the boo houses towards the beginning, like the one where the big boo was, it's like, I think it's like the second haunted house that you come across. Might be the one in the caverns, like the Crystal Cavern area. but there's like just a gigantic boo, and like for us, that was like one of the hardest parts to get past. We would die there a lot, put it that way. I remember that. And I remember every time we got to a castle, you always would joke and laugh at this. You'd crack up, you'd say like, no Yoshi, like Bowser would say, no Yoshi's allowed, because for some reason we couldn't take Yoshi inside Bowser, the castle of one of the Koopa Troopas, or Bowser's castle for that matter. So I never understood that, because Yoshi's like the biggest part of the game, and you couldn't use him in like some of the most crucial areas of the game. So I remember that, and guys, this is a funny story too, quick nostalgia thing. I remember making Traven a hand-drawn book that I made, a picture book, because we beat Mario World together. I remember, I don't know if we cheated and went through Star World. We may have, but I'm pretty sure we played through the game, I feel like. But I remember beating. Nah, I think we went through Star World. If I'm thinking things right, I think we went. You showed me the secret that you found through Star World, and we went to Bowser's castle, and we beat him together. And I remember you did the fight basically. So I mean, we played through it a lot together. But you basically were driving the car there. We beat him. And I remember just drawing up this paper book as a little kid, and I'm sure it was terrible. And I like picture for picture, and I stapled it together, and I gave it to you as like a gift in like this big yellow envelope. I guess I thought that was really sweet and cool of me back then. You probably threw it away. I don't know.
No, I probably still have it around somewhere.
Yeah, you do. I bet it's like under your pillow. You used to look at it from time to time. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
No, like the furthest I've ever gotten the game myself with Mario World is I did on my Wii U about 2 years ago. I rebought it, and I said I'm going to play through it from world to world, level to level. And I didn't unlock every secret yet, but I played straight through it, and I got all the way to Bowser. And then for some reason, and I don't remember why, but I just stopped. I think I probably got a new Wii U game at the time, and it took my attention away. And I officially like have never like beat Mario World on my own per se. That doesn't negate the fact, in my opinion, why I think Donkey Kong Country is better than Mario World. But so for that matter, that's as far as I've gotten personally with the game. I like the game. The Yoshis obviously were sweet, all the colors, and just the graphic powers. You got to realize, coming from a NES, and then for the longest time, I was restricted to just the gray Game Boy and Mario Land stuff. To see Super Mario World was mind-blowing to me. I mean, can you guys just imagine that? You go from the NES to the Game Boy, which was less powerful, and it's just gray and black. And then all of a sudden, your new best friend Traven has Super Mario World. I mean, this was mind blowing to a kid that was 5 or 6 years old. So no wonder I loved the game so much, and I loved playing it with Traven. And we kept bugging his parents to let us get up super early in the morning to play it, and we never wanted to stop. It was awesome. It really was awesome. And Jesse, I can see why you regret playing Sega by seeing this game. I mean, nothing was like it on Sega, you know? So
speaking of like secrets and things, I remember going over to a friend's house, and I thought I had everything in the game, or I thought it was pretty cool. I found all the exits, so I was good. I didn't really realize that the red in the level on the level markers meant that there was like a secret exit. So I thought I'd explored everything in the game, and then I start playing with my friend, and they go to the second area, and there's this little level above the Boo House I'd never seen before. I'm like, what is that? And they go into it, and it's not really a level. It's just this area with some like question blocks, and that's pretty much it. It's called the top secret area, and I was like, my mind is just blown. Like, how do you get to this? And they never told me, but I wanted to know like what this was, because like you could get infinite 1-ups because you just kept going in over and over and over again. Yoshi would turn into an egg if you had or would turn into a 1-up mushroom if you already had a Yoshi. And so I would do that over and over and over again. I would load out with both feathers and be ready to take on anything. And that was such a cool thing for me. And I also discovered on my own the secret exit at the top of the Star Road Hill, and going to the secret stages and being like, I felt like I shouldn't be there, like this, and it was all dark and black and it had like crazy colors. Like, this is like meta in the game. Like, I'm beyond the game somehow, like playing these levels that weren't supposed to be played or something. I was just like, I felt like it was. They were so difficult too. Like, most notably Tubular. That one was so hard. I've died so many times on that stupid level.
There's a lot of there is a ton of secrets in the game that I think I don't even think I know where they all are today. Tony, was that something that you took advantage of, or did you like to play the game straight through, or were you someone like how I am today, like you got to find every secret before you beat the whole game?
Yeah, I played it both ways. I play it, sometimes I'm just like, I could just run through it and get as far as I can, as fast as I can. And then there's other times where I am meticulous and I go through and get everything and find every exit and go through all of it. But more so than not, I always go through all of it. That's usually the way I play the game. I like to get all the exits. I like to go through all the secret worlds. I like to go to the top secret area, farm lives. It's so much fun to just find those areas. And now I don't know how to play the game any other way now. It's just like you go to where the secret exit is automatically. It's just ingrained in my brain now.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing, I guess. It makes you look legit when others are watching you, you know?
Oh, yeah. I started watching like speedrunners, and I was like, I can almost do that. And then I was like, I should start speedrunning this game. But they're crazy. But
you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that. I want to get your opinion real fast, guys. Like, I've seen somebody, I saw it on YouTube a long time ago, a couple years back, where somebody was like, I beat Super Mario World in like 12 seconds. And like, they did some glitch to where they did something with the shell and you had to pull it off just right. And then you got the credits to roll. And they were freaking out. They considered that beating the game. And I'm like, that is not beating Super Mario World. You exposed a glitch in the game. That doesn't count. Like, I don't consider glitches for run-throughs legit. That is my opinion. I do not. If you can beat the game running through it and you find secrets, fine. But if you legitimately expose the technical foundations of the game that were not meant to happen, I don't consider that legit.
I agree with you, because I don't think you should have to break the game to beat the game. Like, it's not meant to be played that way. So I agree with you.
Exactly. Would you agree with that, Traven?
I don't know. I mean, I certainly find glitches to be very interesting. I think it's, kind of cool when you find certain glitches in the game. But I would agree that probably for competitive purposes, that 12-second run wouldn't count. But I'm sure there's other people that would say, otherwise, like Melee players who would say, Smash Brother Melee players who would say glitches are totally okay to use in a game.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, some people do, but not in my book. If I ran a tournament, it wouldn't happen, so don't enter my tournament. So if you play that way.
So, guys, I wanted to pose a question. What level would you say gave you the most difficult time, or maybe a secret exit you could never find? What was there anything that particularly stands out in your time of playing the game? Maybe you did overcome it eventually, but just really just get you going. Like, I had so much trouble. Like, you're frustrating nostalgia.
Ooh, Traven, let's go with you, gaming master.
I don't really remember many instances where I was frustrated at the game.
Because he's that good.
It would probably be more towards, I don't know, the mountains or the forest area. I remember I didn't spend a lot of time down there. So.
Okay. I mean, yeah, whatever. We know it was all cakewalk for you, Trev. You don't have to lie. But I'll say real quick, I since I didn't actually own the game as a kid with Traven, the Boo houses were pretty tough. I do remember that. But I think the cavern, it was like an underground cavern. It was in the very start of the game. It looked like a fire pit that you almost like clicked on. You know what I'm talking about? It was right past a boo house, and it was a side-scrolling level. So, like, I think you had to, like, try to maneuver. It had the crushing little stumps that would come down from the ceiling, and there were bats flying through. As a kid, I remember that level frustrating me a lot at Traven's, and eventually I'd die. I just give him the controller and he'd beat it. So he's that good, I'm telling you. So yeah, for me, Tony, what about you, man?
I was actually going to say the exact same level that you said, but for different reasons, because it moves by itself. It's one of those where you have to wait for it to move through it, and I just can't stand when levels do that. I get so impatient. I start like doing spin jumps and like spinning my cape around, shooting fireballs, like waiting, making Mario go up and down, like kind of like make him duck and make him look like he's dancing. It's just those levels just drive me crazy, and anytime I have to wait for the level itself, I always end up dying because I'm like, let's see how far I can push it and see if I can get away with it, and it always just ends up crushing me or whatever. But those levels drive me crazy.
Maybe that's the trick that they put in, is that they knew a bunch of young little boys wouldn't have the patience to wait on the level.
Little boys, I'm still like that now.
Yeah, good point. Me too. We're still kids at heart, right? You know? Ryan, well, you asked the question. Ryan, what about you, man? What was so tough for you?
It was on the bridge, near the top of the game, basically. There was this secret exit, like I could not find. It was like Cheesecake Bridge, I think is what it was. And then once you got the secret exit, like dropped down into like Soda Lake, and there was more secrets there that I couldn't find. But it was just that figuring out that secret exit there. And I think if I remember right, it was one where you had to like use the cape and you had to like fly underneath the goal and like bounce back up again. Ooh. And there was another goal like beyond it. And I actually discovered this on my own, but I actually looked it up to make sure that was correct because I couldn't quite get the timing right. I'm terrible at the cape mechanic. Like I cannot do it consistently, no matter how much I've tried. Like I can never get the rhythm down proper. I guess I'm just too impatient on it, and now's the time to hit the button, and I'm not very patient with it. But so I was finally able to do it myself once I confirmed that was what I needed to do, instead of like going through all that heartache to find out there was nothing there. So I finally discovered that one, and then went on to the Soda Lake area. So that was my biggest frustrating moment, was trying to find that secret exit.
That one was a huge pain. I remember that too. The exit had like the wood logs, and you had to fly underneath them and then come up after it. Oh, that was so frustrating. I remember I kept thinking like, how do you beat this? And I just tried everything during that level. And then one day I was just like flying up there, and I'm like, oh, this is it.
It doesn't help that it's like the track level where you jump on the logs and they move along, and they have like the saw blades going by on the tracks and stuff. That didn't help at all, like to keep that power up to be able to get to that point in the end. Like it was a chore just to get to that point even so.
Traven, do you know what level they're talking about? Did you struggle with that?
Is it the lake right before you get to the cave? Or is it the lake inside?
When you get past the cave area, and you go up on top of when you come out of the cave, and it's the lower bridge, not the big one up above, but the one down below.
Yeah, I think I might know what level you're talking about. I don't remember much about it though. I always like the upper path more because that's the one where you could ride the dolphins.
Yeah, I remember that.
The castle with the Triceratops in those, the Resnors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was the coolest path to take.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Enemies, real quick. You know, I think the enemies in this game, we had some newer enemies that had never been in a Mario game before, such as the football dudes. And they threw baseballs. There's the sporting turtle-looking dudes. Man, those guys, yes, those guys were such a pain and so scary as a kid. Like they were intimidating. Oh, yeah. My goodness, they were very intimidating for being a little kid trying to play that game. I was scared of them, but they were in the game. The dinosaur dudes were in the game. What'd you say the names were, Traven?
Resnors.
And were they?
That was named after a singer in a band, if I remember right.
Well, I know the Koopa Kids are named after singers and bands. They're named after famous rock stars.
I feel like that was the last name of like someone in some band. I can't.
You have to look it up. I'm not sure, honestly, with them.
Was it like Trent Reznor? I think maybe that was the person.
I think so. Yeah. Is it? It says here, is it 9 Inch Nails?
Yeah, 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor.
I think that was actually how they got that name. It's very strange, but
oh, wow.
That's a pretty cool, obscure reference there.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to hit on here, guys, was the music. The music in the game. This classic game. I mean, I think besides Mario 64, this game probably has my favorite music tracks of all time. And if you guys know the Koji Kondo, he's awesome. He's definitely one of my favorite composers for Nintendo, music composers in general. He used pretty much the same melody throughout the whole game, but just changed it depending on what level you were in. So like my most favorite nostalgic memory of music with this game that I fell in love with, I always remember playing it at Draven's, and it's the athletic theme, you know, the da 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 da. That one is so awesome. And my favorite connection, one of my top things about getting Super Smash Brothers Melee when we did, was that I knew that it had a level dedicated to Super Mario World, and it had that theme song on it. And that would have been the very first time I ever had a game that had that song on it, and it was my favorite song from Super Mario World. But the underwater theme was the same. If you go back and listen, I don't know if you knew that, but like the underwater theme is the same thing. It's just slower and more oceany like. Bowser's Castle is the exact same thing. It's just very dark and very separated in between the notes that they hit it, the way they play it and stuff. So I just thought that was really cool. I mean, the music in this game is very timeless. It's a very good soundtrack. I re-listened to it just last week. Would you concur with that? Do you guys get into the music as much? I know Ryan, he like turns the music off. But Tony, is that something for you that you like to does that play into your nostalgia, the music, I guess? Oh yeah, big time. Like whenever I see you on Twitter and you're like, oh, listening to some banjo or whatever you're listening to, some sort of rare track or whatever, the way you put those on all the time, that's the way I put on Super Mario World music. Like I am always listening to it. I'm whistling it when I'm walking down the street. If you guys, there's the cavern area and it's like Vanilla Dome. That song is a banger. Go ahead and just listen to that. It's the beat on that is sick. They even have like hip hop drums in it. It does like a double drum at one spot. So good. And like, I just always think about the music. I'm always whistling it. Like I said, just like walking down the street, people must think I'm crazy. I'm just like, do, 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 do. No, I do the same thing. It's huge for me in that game. I'm at work and I'm whistling tunes from like Donkey Kong, but I've been, since I knew this episode was coming up, I've been whistling that exact tune. I whistled to my daughter last night when she was fussy, and it calmed her right down. Traven, you like the music, man? Is that something you really dig?
Yeah, I really like the cave theme, and I like how whenever you get on Yoshi, it actually changes the music in the stages.
Yeah, good point. Yes, it's like a variation of the song. It added like drums to it, you know? To let you know you're on Yoshi. And they still do that to this day. They changed the song up of the level to match Yoshi, the drums, which is very cool. They add that even so to this day. So, guys, I think everyone wants to get into the reason they're really listening to the show, and that's the drama that's been circling Super Mario World since we had Donkey Kong Country episode back in August with Mr. Justin Masson from Nintendo Dads. I made some comments that, you know, shook the universe a little bit, and those comments were that I said Mario World is for children and Donkey Kong Country is basically for grown men. It's the next level when you're ready to grow up a little bit and play something a bit tougher. And I stand by that. I clearly laid out that I love Mario World. I don't discredit. I don't hate it. I would not shy away from playing it. It's a game that my children will. It's a must-play game that they have to play. I love Mario World, but I do not think it is better than Donkey Kong Country, and especially Donkey Kong Country 2 if you want to get real picky, Donkey Kong Country 2. And so, I mean, it's 3 against 1 here, so have at it, guys. You know, come at me with your best shot, and I'll try to defend it.
So, Jacob, let me get this straight. So you spent all this time in Donkey Kong Country, like finding all the exits and playing through everything and 100%ing it, 101% or whatever that is, correct?
Yeah.
Have you done that for Super Mario World? Other than like beating the game, have you gone through all the exits? Have you discovered all the ways in and out of the Star Road? Have you gotten to the secret levels? Have you gotten past the secret levels into the alternate world? Like, have you done any of that stuff as a gamer?
Not on my own. I mean, I've seen it all. I know it exists.
Are you sure?
Yeah, not all of them. Like I said, I lived this game through Traven. So, like, Traven's done everything in the game. And I witnessed it all. So it's not like I'm, like, unaware of stuff in Mario World. I haven't technically beaten it all myself, but I'm aware that it's there, and I've seen what it is.
I think it's fair to say that you haven't experienced enough of Super Mario World to really have a true opinion. Right now, that's very true to you that Donkey Kong Country is better, but that's because you haven't discovered the magic that is the entirety of Super Mario World and 100% completing it, gold starring it, what have you. Guys, what do you think?
I love watching or listening to your guys' podcast, and like I always listen to it on the way to work, and I'm like smiling, and I agree with everything you say. I was listening to that episode, and I'm like, yeah, everything they're saying about Donkey Kong is so true. Like, that's one of my favorite games too for Super Nintendo. I love the Donkey Kong Country series. And then you said that, and my jaw literally dropped. I was like, what? I'm like, I got to rethink the subscription on iTunes.
Oh, no.
But I knew what you meant. I understood what you meant. And for you, maybe that's the case. But like the way I talk about it is it's all about how you flow in the game. And if you can hold that run button, time all the jumps, make everything flow nicely, get all those coins using the cape, that's what it's all about. And that's where the skill comes into the game. Like, but it's great because it's accessible to everyone. And that's where it's inclusive. So
that's very true. Very true. Traven, man, you're kind of quiet on this one. I mean, I know you think it's better than Donkey Kong Country, but tell me, why am I wrong, man? Why am I wrong?
All right, so for Donkey Kong Country, when you compare it to Mario World, I really don't think there's much of a contest. And Mario World has so much more varied stages than Donkey Kong Country. I mean, Donkey Kong Country is good, but I mean, it's nowhere near the size of Mario World. I mean, in the first one, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, they're very similar in how they attack. And the only time you really ever get to have much of a, variation in your characters, if you ride on the animals, that's still pretty limited. So, and I never really thought that the first Donkey Kong Country was really all that difficult.
Oh my gosh, it's very difficult. It's kind of funny actually. A lot of people say that Donkey Kong Country 2 is the hardest, and Donkey Kong Country 1 is easier. Ironically, for me, to be honest with that, I know this isn't about Donkey Kong Country, but I found 2 to be a lot easier for me to play than 1, because I feel like 2 is very nerfed with Dixie Kong, where you can kind of flutter with her hair and you can kind of focus on where you're going to jump on people in platforms. And Donkey Kong, it wasn't like that. I mean, you're just you're rolling and you're jumping, and kind of taking a leap of faith with Donkey Kong and Diddy there. So I don't feel like I had as much control with Donkey Kong. Now, I will say this. Here's my reasons why I think Donkey Kong Country is better than Mario World. I think, first off, I know graphics don't make a game, but come on. Back at this time, this was like the next level. Everyone talks about graphics, and like, it's so amazing. Donkey Kong Country wasn't just a little cartoon side-scrolling game. It was like mind-blowing, groundbreaking graphics at that time. And then, not to mention, it's not just the graphics, it's the music. I think Mario World has a great soundtrack, has good music, But David Wise and Evelyn Fisher and Robin Beanland, they took mainly David Wise. Let's be fair, mainly David Wise. The other two had good songs added to it, but David Wise is who's really known for really cementing what Donkey Kong Country music sounds like. And guys, it took ambience and really included it in the game better than any other game I had done at that time. The ambience music, the themes that came with it. When I think of Donkey Kong Donkey Kong World, when I think of Donkey Kong Country, and I go back to it today, it takes me to another world. Like the music, I mean, how can you not listen to aquatic ambience underwater and like not be taken away to like a peaceful place like we talked about? That's one reason why I love about that is the music. They took themselves very serious. David Wise has said this himself. They took themselves really serious on a game that was not supposed to be serious. So like that's why you have tracks that are like rocking and rolling and really they have a serious tone or a beautiful atmospheric tone, but yet they're just monkeys chasing down their bananas, because they got stolen. So like it doesn't match, and they're really silly, and the characters are silly, the villains are silly, all that. But so I think Donkey Kong added in a lot of humor that was not really present in the Mario world, in the Mario universe at the time. Mario has gotten a lot funnier, especially with Paper Mario games as time has gone on. But back then, Rare really added in a humor aspect to it. I thought the gameplay was unique. We had for the first time minecart levels. Guys, we didn't have that in Mario. That was a whole new experience. Again, the graphics were awesome. The music was superior to Mario World, and I thought the controls made and using Donkey Kong, like I said, how I felt like it was kind of harder to control, not because they were bad. I just think that it was different and more complicated. And to me, I feel like you said, Tony, that picking up Mario World is accessible to everybody. Not everybody can just pick up Donkey Kong and just start running with it because it's tougher. I think it is more for the next level of game. So once you've played Mario World and you've mastered it, and Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, I think it is very appropriate you want to challenge your skills, go play some Donkey Kong Country, and that'll be tougher for you. Any response to that?
Well, it's your podcast, so you can say what you like. But no, I have to give you one thing though. Like that underwater theme, that song to this day gives me chills. That's the one that goes into the rotation of the Super Mario World music playlist. I always throw that one in there because it is a fantastic song.
Oh my gosh, absolutely is. And that one in Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2. Dude, I've hypnotized my daughter. She just turned 1. Ever since the day she's been born, I've been playing her video game music from Mario to Donkey Kong, Zelda, Kirby, all of these good tunes. I've been like, I don't want to say brainwashing her because it kind of sounds like evil, but I've been playing her these video game soundtracks literally the day she was born. And I have gotten her to, like, when she cries and she's really upset, I play Sticker Brush Symphony, and she legitimately stops crying. Like, she'll be screaming her head off in the car sometimes, and she'll be hungry or she'll be upset or she's tired. And as soon as you play that song through the car speakers, everything stops. She stops and she listens, and then she falls asleep. She'll if I play that song, it helps her rock her to sleep there. And so I know what you mean. Like, that to me also is what's really special about Donkey Kong. Is just that music, man. If music is special to you, like really special to you, I think you can really appreciate what that did for video game music. So that's another reason why I like Donkey Kong. What's up, Brian?
Jacob, can we get you to agree at least that your younger self would tell your older self that he's crazy and Super Mario World is totally better than Donkey Kong Country?
I probably would say Radical Rex was better. No, just kidding. I mean, like I said back then, I loved Donkey Kong Country because it was a game that I played with Traven, and I have a lot of nostalgia. Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 for it, but I mean, Mario World was definitely my Super Nintendo game as for my childhood. That defined my childhood. Above Mario Kart, above Radical Rex, above all the other side games we played, like Jurassic Park Part 2. Mario World is definitely the number one from my childhood. But just as I've gotten older and can compare them, I definitely side more with the Donkey Kong Country games today.
I think you're in a minority, man. But hey, you got your things.
I mean, go listen to the Conversation. Now, warnings, that is not a clean podcast. They can go off the road, they go off the ramps, and that podcast was the reason my inner Kong awoken for realizing, like, man, I really like Donkey Kong. But
just remember, Mario is the one that takes down Donkey Kong. When he's Jumpman, way back when, Mario wins against him and gets the girl.
That is Cranky Kong. Thank you. It's not the Donkey Kong that we loved and played with. That is Cranky Kong, who he took out. And you know what? I think Donkey Kong, I have a correlation with Traven all these years. Like, I mentally always pick Donkey Kong and, like, Mario Kart games, Smash Bros, Mario Party. Like, I just picked him, and I had this gravitation because there was a year, because of long distance, when Traven, he moved to the west side of Indianapolis out in Plainfield. We used to live at, like, just literally 5-10 minutes from each other. Then he moved out there. We lost touch for maybe a good 6-7 years. We didn't talk. There was no social media. We didn't have cell phones, texting, and I think subconsciously why I always clung to Donkey Kong because was my memories with Traven. I really believe that. That was like my connection to Traven still because of playing with Donkey Kong. And Traven was the only person I ever knew who had Donkey Kong that I played with like that. So there you go, Traven. I mean, Donkey Kong, he's one part of the glue to our friendship. Well, guys, I think everyone is tired of hearing you guys give a poor effort of why World's better than Donkey Kong. But
I have one last thing to say.
Go for it, Trey.
Jurassic Park 2 had a better soundtrack than Donkey Kong.
Oh, Traven, come on. No, it did not.
You gotta listen to those songs. Those songs are awesome in Jurassic Park 2.
I'll give you this. I have not thoroughly gone back and listened to Jurassic Park Part 2 for the Super Nintendo, the soundtrack. But I will, since you said this, I will go back and listen to it. I may give it to be better than Country, but Country 2 is by far the best video game soundtrack that I have ever heard out of every game that's ever existed.
I feel like this conversation is going to spawn another podcast where we pit like Nintendo franchises against each other, or Nintendo games against each other in the Versus series. I feel like that's going to happen someday.
You know what? It very well may, and I look forward to that. I think that would be really fun and very clever. But guys, you know what? I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. This has truly been a blast. I know it's probably been a longer episode than normal, being 4 of us on here. But you know what? It's okay. I love this episode. Tony, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, and if you do anything, let them know what you do.
Yeah, man. You can find me mostly on the Twitters at TonyBaker87. And also did Quest for Pixels. That's our YouTube, and it's a podcast. And we also have a Twitter there that's with Sheldon Benedict, actually, the guy who was trying to call in and leave a message. So he's my co-host on that one. So we've been doing a podcast. We've got 2 episodes under our belts, and we're just going to be doing a lot of streaming, a lot of fun. So follow us on Twitter and like and subscribe on YouTube and check us out there.
Oh, that's awesome. So you said Tony Baker 87, and you said, what was the YouTube page?
Quest for Pixels, as in the number 4.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to get that in because I think there might have been a technical hiccup there. Awesome, Tony. Guys, go follow Tony. He's a good guy to follow. He's on Twitter. I follow him. We chit chat. That's how we met traditionally. So go follow Tony there. But Traven, man, we know this, that you're a legend. You're a legend. I mean, so you're not like us that have little Twitters and Facebooks and MySpace for those who still have MySpace. But what would you like to leave us as you ascend back to your legendary hiding spot before another episode?
Super Mario World was better than Donkey Kong Country.
Amen. The end. End of episode. Cut it. Cut.
Done.
No.